to welcome Miss Erika Lee. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you.
I tell you, I'm so excited to have you here on the show, and I know you're probably a little bit nervous, but you'll be all right. We're going to have some fun here, but what you're doing with your foundation is truly amazing. As a great calling, because right now there's so much things that are not being said about teenage dating, violence, and your foundation, the P.U.R.S.E Foundation, covers so much. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about you, about Erika.
Yes.
You actually accepted Christ at a very young age of 9.
Yes.
And please tell us a little about that.
Well, I'm from Illinois, Kankakee, Illinois, and I grew up in a church back in Illinois, Morning Star Baptist Church, and I can remember making a conscious decision of, I want to give my life to God.
Amen.
And it was after my mom would take me to church repeatedly, and and being in church, I would find myself clapping my hands versus when I was a little scared to clap, or and I found myself graduating clapping and throwing my hand up when I was just a little girl. And I remember making the conscious decision to say, I want to know God. I want to accept God as my personal Savior. So I remember going down to the altar and giving my life to God at 9 years old. Yes.
Amen. I tell you, it's so funny how we all kind of grew up in the church, and then now when you get a little bit older, you can recall, what? That was a good thing.
Yes.
Amen, amen. And you've taken some personal situations yourself that helped you create the P.U.R.S.E Foundation. First of all, please tell us what the P.U.R.S.E Foundation is.
Well, P.U.R.S.E Foundation, it stands for Partnering Under Real Situations Every Day, and it addresses the question, what are you carrying? We all carry something, something that we may not want to disclose to our family and friends. And more in particular, P.U.R.S.E just focuses on teens on the issue that they may carry, which is teen dating violence.
Wow.
So P.U.R.S.E, a lot of teens are not even aware that they're carrying this particular accessory. So it is P.U.R.S.E Foundation's goal to inform them of what a possible abusive dating partner looks like and the warning signs they can take heed to if they encounter an abusive dating partner.
And see, that's so important, because what we perceive as love is not really love, or like is not really being liked. It's something totally different.
Exactly. And oftentimes, what we think is love, we sometimes learn indirectly what love is, and sometimes growing up, it may not have been the right form of love, and we carry that into adulthood years of thinking that we know how to love and we know what love is, and so it's our mission to go in and correct those misperceptions of what one think love is. And like myself, I thought love was associated with some pain, because sometimes love felt like it was so hard to get. So if my relationships didn't come with a little pain, then, this is not a loving relationship.
Wow. And I know, because I believe that you had shared with us off camera that you had a situation growing up in a really bad relationship, and it was abusive and some violence. And again, so you can speak from a personal account. You have a testimony on what it should look like, what real love should look like. You also had a college friend, which also sort of helped you drive the P.U.R.S.E Foundation.
Definitely. And it was so easy for me to hide behind her story. But her story was Nova. P.U.R.S.E was actually because of Nova. Nova Henry. Nova and her daughter were murdered. And their lives were taken. And during that time that Nova was murdered, I was in an abusive relationship. And I was scared that what happened to her was going to happen to me. So I always say that although her death was a tragedy indeed, I feel like it saved my life. Because at that moment, I woke up and made a conscious decision to get out of the situation that I was in. And I don't know if I didn't have that wake-up moment, if I would even be here today. So P.U.R.S.E Foundation is dedicated to Nova Henry and her daughter Ava. So I can't do P.U.R.S.E without recognizing them and dedicating it back to them, because it was, when I thought about them, that was my strength to say, I'm going to leave this relationship. Nova, I'm going to do this for you. And so that's how P.U.R.S.E was more so derived. And also it was a God-given vision. As when she was murdered, I began to have dreams about her. And one particular dream, I dreamed of the word P.U.R.S.E. And P.U.R.S.E. was spelled in my dream with periods, with black bold letters with periods between each letter. And I woke up and I said, God, what does P.U.R.S.E. mean? What is this? Later on that day, I came across a Google article with Nova's mother holding a purse, saying this purse is symbolic because now I have to be a voice for my daughter and my granddaughter. And at that moment, I knew that God had gave me a mission and gave me a mission to turn into reality and to get started and get moving to help others, because I was fortunate to get out of that situation that I was in. So I could not just sit back and keep that for myself. I had to be a voice for someone else.
Amen, amen. And I tell you again, this is so powerful because so many young people, even adults, as we talked about, they have a misperception on what real love is.
Yes.
And you see it because part of your ministry, not part of it, a good component of your ministry, you actually go out to the schools, to the shelters, and you go where they are to help them.
Definitely. So since we focus more so on teens, we got to go where they are. So we go to the schools, whatever community events that we can be a part of that's focusing on the teens, we go. And upcoming on February 6th, we're going to the Center for Children and Young Adults. We're going there to host a teen dating violence workshop to inform them of what a possible abusive dating partner looks like, so they can be prepared if they are in a relationship or begin dating. So we want to give teens those warning signs before the preparation skills before they actually begin dating. Because it's really important, because you can miss the signs. It's really subtle. Like for myself, in my relationship, I missed the signs because I had the wrong perception of what I thought love was. I remember my abusive relationship, and I remember my in a situation where my ex would say, well, tell me that people were not my friends, would say, and I would just in turn just mistake that as, oh, he's just looking out for me. He just want to protect me. And also with the constant calling, again, yes, he just wants to make sure that I'm safe. All those things that I just mistake. I just thought that they were love and thought it was one caring for me. And it actually wasn't. It was someone that was trying to keep me isolated from my family and friends so that they could have complete control over me.
Wow. And I tell you, and even on your website, you have some just very enlightening information, because I went through it, and as you and I talked again off camera, you have about 25, 30 different questions that you should be asking yourself. Potentially, you can ask yourself, because to your point, with your former relationship, he was starting the process of isolating you, which is a form of abuse.
Definitely.
Then we also have the signs of verbal,
yes, indeed.
And people always think it's physical, but it's not. It's a verbal. It's the mental abuse as well. So again, you kind of go through. These are some of the little things that you should be looking out for.
Definitely. And, and more so than ever physical for my relationship, it was more so mental. Because once somebody begins to take things away from you or label you, we know that the enemy comes to steal and destroy. So my identity was being taken from me. I was beginning to lose sight of who I was. And so with the enemy working through that person, I was losing me. And because I didn't recognize me. I couldn't figure out how could I be in this situation. And it was really embarrassing for me, so I kept it as a secret. I kept it to myself because I couldn't believe it was me.
Right.
And you think about it with the teens, and some teens probably think it'll never be them. And for me, when I think about my life in high school, and when you think about the cheerleading team you're on, being president of student council, being the captain cheerleading squad, I didn't think this would be my life. And so here it is. And I was embarrassed. So I kept it to myself. But that's what P.U.R.S.E. Foundation is all about. It's about releasing what you're carrying. Because if you don't release it, no one can help you.
Amen.
Finding a trusted administrator, a trusted most of the teens don't even let their parents know. Such as me, I didn't let my parents know. Why? Because then again, I felt they would have been disappointed. But more so, your parents, they love you and they want to help you. So it's something that we can't keep to ourselves. And one of the ways I find myself getting out of that situation is telling a friend who could help me. However, I did tell that friend, don't tell my mom. However, that friend was a friend and actually did reach out to my mother and inform my mother. And once my mom found out about it, she says, hey, I know about it, and this is what you got to do. She helped me. So when I reached out, my family and friends reached in. So it's important to release what you're carrying.
Amen, amen. And I tell you, that's so, Erika, that's so important because, again, so many young people think that I can't believe this happened to me during that denial.
Yes.
And that denial can be devastating.
Yes.
Not only to them mentally, but also to them physically. And it's so important to, like I said, to release those things. Yes. We all have, there's no perfect person. There's no perfect relationship.
Right.
We all have crosses to bear, but we need to try to help each other, especially, like I said before, there are signs out there that say, you know what, this is not the right kind of relationship.
Exactly.
If I'm constantly looking at your clothes and saying, why are you putting that on? Or how are you putting your makeup on? Or how you're dressing? You don't put that on? Or why are you walking that way? And all these little things that are really telltale signs of a potential abusive relationship. So again, this is something I know that you cover in your seminar, and you mentioned that again in February you're going to be having this workshop, which is we call it a fun shop, workshop, all of the above, because it's not always serious, but people have to understand that you can have fun and learn as well.
Exactly, and that's what we plan to do. We plan to give the teens there that reside at that facility a little fun, a little entertainment, and then we also plan to allow them to take the time to frame their life, and that's actually the theme of our workshop: frame your life. And not to be complacent in life, but frame it. If you get to visualize it, you can live it. You can make it happen. So that's the theme of our workshop. And then we're going to definitely hone in and give them those warning signs of what a possible abusive partner looks like. And even if they find themselves to exhibit that behavior, maybe that will wake them up and say, hey, I've been doing this and I need to stop, so it's very important that we inform our teens.
Amen. Well, Erika, this has been a pleasure to have you here. Please tell the viewing audience where they can get more information about your foundation.
Definitely. You can definitely learn more about P.U.R.S.E Foundation by visiting our website at www.PursFoundation.org.
Super. And again, God bless you what you're doing with the young people, and good luck with you on your upcoming. That's in a couple of weeks. So again, it should be a lot of fun, very educational, and again, just thank you for what you're doing, because it's not just for the women, it's also for the men, for the young men as well. So again, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, right now we're about to go to our intercessors who are here to receive